Welcome to Average Joe's Gym's Home Project, where we do projects and maintenance at home that even an average Joe can accomplish. In today's episode, we're going to convert this space right here into a closet. I think it used to be a closet at one point, and then someone just converted it into an alcove or an extra storage space. It shouldn't be too hard. My wife just wants an extra couple hanging racks so she can hang some more of her clothes. Let's do it. So here's what my wife's got to work with right now. It's not very much considering what ladies tend to have in their closet. And I've got one the exact same size off to the left there, but she's already commandeered probably about 75% of it. If I could just enclose that other section, I think we'll be able to help out our little storage issue. In this episode, I'm not going to frame in a closet door for you guys. I'm just going to show you how I put in the hanging racks and some shelving for this one. It's just a little lower on my priority list, and eventually I'll get to it for another episode. Little safety tip, watch where you set your tools. Luckily I didn't fall right there, but the next thing you need to do is pretend like it never happened. Just carry on, that way you don't have to be embarrassed about it. I know what you're going to say. Using my boat in the swim step for a construction project is probably not the smartest thing I've ever done. But man, it's just the right height. Oh, it'll save you time too if you don't have to keep making trips back to your garage to bring the tools that you forgot. I forgot my square that time. Man, just editing this footage made me just nervous. I mean, I can't believe I had the confidence to make my cuts off my swim step right there. I mean, it wasn't a great choice. And as a matter of fact, after this project, I went out and I purchased some sawhorses. So I would never have to do this again. So before I started any of the cutting for this project, I made sure that I made all the measurements that I needed and just wrote them down in my phone in my notes so that I wouldn't have to keep going in, measuring, coming out, cutting, and doing it at separate times. So I just did all the cutting at the same time, knocked it out so that I wouldn't have to waste my time going in and out. I changed camera angles here, and you're going to see I have about 500 Amazon boxes just piled there. I buy a lot of stuff there. And as a matter of fact, any tools or items that I use in this project, Amazon affiliate links are in the description. So there's a certain height that your clothes hanging rods need to be. It's so that your clothes don't drag on the floor whenever they're hanging. On this project, unfortunately, that stupid outlet is right at the height I needed. So I'm going to have to cut that piece right there. So frustrating. After a minor panic attack, I decided I would check to make sure that light's not in the way too. And I was lucky. It worked out. It was going to fit there without causing a problem. I'm sure you've noticed I already hung that back piece right there. I used a stud finder to find the studs and then screwed them in. Yeah, not that kind of stud finder, but this one right here. I was able to find two for that back piece, and I sunk them in with screws. Unfortunately, on the sides, I had to do a little something different. There wasn't any studs where I needed them to be. So I actually had to drill the hole, pull out the screw, put in an anchor, a wall anchor, put the piece back up there, and then screw it in. That's not a real great view. You're going to see when I do the lower section. I have a much better view of what I'm doing. Here's the other side. I've got the stud finder in my left hand there. You'll see when I bring it down, that's it right there. It basically uses sound to determine where the stud is in the wall behind the drywall. It works pretty good, and I was able to find one and sink the screw. So you'll see a little better here on the bottom when I do this bottom section. Once again, in the back there, it's the same two studs running down the wall behind the drywall. So I just sunk the back piece in there using my level to make sure it's level, and then sunk it in there. You'll see here that I screw in the screw where I'm going to put it, and then I immediately take it out. That way there's a hole in the wall where the screw is going to go. Then I can sink the wall anchor and then finally put the screw back in there. Alright, once I've got those main mounts put in there, it's time to put in the rod mounts. Here they are, $1.11 on Amazon with free delivery tomorrow. They're pretty cheap, and when you see them, they're not exactly the most complicated item. Just plastic with a screw that goes in the middle. Just make sure you measure the exact distance from the back of the closet to where those mounts are going to go on both sides. Otherwise, your rod's going to sit too high on one side or too far forward. You just want to be exact when you're doing it. Here's what I had to do because of that outlet. I had to cut that piece right there on the side a little short, and then I keep hitting the light and turning it off with my level there. But getting that section done was a little more of a pain in the butt, but it finally ended up okay. I know I'm showing this to you guys in high speed, but I was very careful with this. I used my level several times to try to make sure I got this right. You don't want to rush through it because if it's a little off, it's going to drive you crazy. There's a good view right there of how I ended up doing that to get around the outlet. I don't know if I'll ever use that outlet, but at least I have access to it now in case I want to. It was getting dark by the time I got to this part, but I just couldn't wait. I had to get the poles in there. So I measured them, the length that I thought I'd need them, and this time I used that small bucket as my sawhorse. Pretty easy to put in there, and now it's finally starting to actually look like a closet space. I called it a night after that and decided I would tackle the shelving for tomorrow. This time I also decided to round out the trifecta of sawhorse uses. Not using the swim step anymore on my boat or the small bucket I used for the rods. Now using the tailgate of my 2000 Toyota Tundra pickup truck, which is of course the original model, and I don't even know if I'd be able to replace that tailgate right there if I cut it. But it worked out and the height was just right. Just in case you're wondering too, that wood right there is really expensive. Like, really expensive. Much more expensive than I thought it was going to be. But it's good quality stuff. It'll make good shelves. And it's pretty easy to work with. But you definitely don't want to mess up and have to go buy another piece. Once all the cuts are complete, it's time to paint them. Now, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you probably realize that I hate painting. I absolutely hate it. It slows every project down. It makes a mess. And on top of that, paint is expensive. You would not believe what I paid for that little can of paint right there at the local Home Depot. But there's no way around it. I had to make it look good. I mean, what's the point of doing a project if when you're done it doesn't look good? So there you go. Once one side's dried, you got to flip it over and paint the other side. Just a word of warning here. If you use cardboard as what you're going to paint on top of, it'll stick to it if you're not careful. So maybe after you finish painting it, stand it up. So rather than watching me carry these shelves after they're dried in and install them, we're going to take a little trip to the future here and show you what our finished product is. So as you can see there, I brought in the shelves and put them on top of the mounts. And my wife's already moved in. She's already started hanging a lot of her clothes that she had in drawers that she wanted to hang in the first place. So here it is, a repurposed closet space made from just an empty storage area or alcove. If you enjoyed this project, please check out our other projects on Average Joe's Gym's home projects. And don't forget to like and subscribe for future projects.